So let's go to number 5 here. Number 5 here says what I just talked about. Look, what is your exit strategy? Provide an exit strategy for investors. Take us through it.
This is important. I mean, as we both know, any investor is not looking to tie up their money forever, right? Investors are trying to get the best use of their money at all times. And so that means there's time-based events that they're going to be paying attention to. So just looking at this in a very common sense manner, when am I getting my money back, right? If we loan our buddy $20, the first conversation is, okay, well, when am I getting my money back and how much are you going to pay me back on that $20? The same thing exists here. So an investor is looking for the company to they're looking for an event that's going to trigger them getting their money back. So we're thinking about IPO. So an initial public offer. So the company was a privately owned company. Now we're going to take it public so that we can access public funds. That's an event that's going to trigger me getting my money back as an investor. A merger. Many times we start companies and we figure out, you know what? I don't think we can do this on our own. We're going to find somebody that's in a similar business that we can complement one another, and we're going to merger and come together and do business together, which happens all the time. From an investment perspective, yeah, I love that. That's an event that's going to trigger me getting my money back. And so just keeping in mind as the founder and CEO, what events can I forecast for my investor to get their money back and when?
Yeah.
So attaching a time frame to that, because it's one thing for me to say, Scott, we're going to take this company public and you're going to get your money back. But the first thing Scott is going to say probably is when. When are you going public?
Man.
And hey, we might not meet the deadline, but Scott has an idea. Okay, hey, we're supposed to take this company public in a year.
Right.
So that's something for us to be tracking so I can get my money back in that return that I was pitched in the beginning.
And that's I'm glad you used that and then that year as part of your example, because many investors are not necessarily going to let you hold on to their money for 5 years. They're generally looking for a year, 2 years, less than 3 years for sure. But less than 3 years, you got to have a plan for less than 3 years going in the door. But like to your point, you can adjust along the way with open lines and strong of communication and strong, clear communication. But there has to be some sort of short window on the front end of when you anticipate through a clear plan of action of getting investors their money back.
Exactly. And let's think about some common things that we have all experienced, like in banking, for example. So why the investor is so concerned with these short time frames. So think about, the CDs that you got in the past, you're locked into an interest rate. It's the same thing for an investor. The longer you have the investor's money, they're basically locked into that whatever return you told them that you were going to give them in the beginning. So say you told them, hey, I'm going to give you we're forecasting an 8% return on the money that you put up, you contribute as capital. The longer I hold your money, now there's possibly an opportunity cost because I could take that same money and get a higher than 8% return somewhere else. And so that's what the investor is thinking about. Look, I need to get my money out of here because the longer one entity holds it, the less money, the less return I'm going to get over time. So I need to move the money somewhere else.
And so call it what you want, people. Investors might be greedy. And I don't even think it's greedy. It's just really you told them something or you plan to tell them something and they are holding you accountable to that. It's not even really greed. It's just I'm an investor. I want to make the most out of my money as I possibly can to sustain myself and my family.
That's right.
That's what this is all about. Now, what do you say? And I know we're getting short on time a little bit here, but I don't want to necessarily just rush it for the sake of rushing it. But what do you say to some business owners who are like, why would I exit my business? Why would I let somebody buy it? I don't want to sell it. This is my baby. I built this. What would you say to them?
The first thing I would say to them is build a business first and foremost that someone would be interested in purchasing. Whether you want to sell it or not, I'm encouraging you to build something that someone would even purchase in the first place. Then we can get to should you sell it and all of that, which I've had that conversation with many clients. So a lot of people, they don't want to sell their business. Sure, you don't have to, but I would say this, you really want to think about how long do you want to be in this business? So one of the reasons to sell would be I might want to retire. So I'm in a situation personally where I'm building my company, Hubris. I am hoping that my children take over the company, right? And I used to wonder why I would see this in movies all the time. You know those movies you see where somebody's built this multi-million-dollar company and the child does not want to be in that business. They want to be an artist or a motorcycle rider, whatever, but they want to do anything but run that business. And you see the parent in the movie, they're very upset and having these arguments with the child. I understand that now. Very, because I'm looking at my kids, I'm like, one of you all needs to run this business. And they're talking about everything but that.
Everything
but that. If I get to a point where I'm 60 years old and I don't want to run this business anymore, I might have to sell it.
Yeah.
The kids don't want it. They don't want to run it. I haven't found anybody else that has the same vision that I have.
Yeah.
The best thing to do might be to sell it to someone that has the same vision and let them carry it on, and we take the proceeds, and put it out.
Someone you trust in your space.
Someone you trust. Sometimes I've seen where it's a competitor. So even though they were a competitor, you all share the same core values about how to do business, and you end up selling to a competitor because you're like, even though this person was my competitor, I respect how they do business. We have the same shared values. I would rather put it in their hands than someone else.